Hello world, I'm Smith Kingston, Houseplant Guru Extraordinaire. Joining us today we have Chloe Kalanchoe, Yabonton Melon, and the beautiful Tammy Fandango. Listen people, I've got some great news. Try to stay calm, but this is big. In this video, we're gonna welcome a new leafy friend to our already ridiculously innumerable host of happy houseplants. This friend was found at Target in Flagstaff, Arizona, and he is known by many names. His scientific name is Sansevieria trifasciata variegata Laurentii. He is also known by several common names, examples of which are gold-edged snake plant, gold-band Sansevieria, viper's bowstring hemp, and magic sword. The name though of this specific snake plant is Toby McSchmuter. I gotta say, so far Toby seems like a pretty cool guy, but I couldn't help but notice that he didn't buckle his seatbelt on the drive back from Flagstaff, and I picked up some subtle salty vibes when I told him that he was going to be potted into a planter that was glazed and non-porous. For now, I'm pretty sure that Toby is going to fit in just fine with everybody. But down the road, I won't be surprised to find out that Toby has a wild side and is just a little bit of a with a Wow. You got smoke with Chloe already, and it's what, day 1? I guess day 2, but still. Anyway, sit back, chow down on some multicolored kettle corn, crack open a can of your favorite crisp, cool, refreshing beverage, and enjoy the show as we get our newly acquired leafy friend out of his nursery pot into something a little bit more comfortable, fashion him a tastefully tied, expertly crafted, and artistically beaded macrame, and find an ideally lit spot in our home for the devilishly handsome, subtly salty, and potentially Toby McSchmuter. You know, potentially. A thing to be mindful of when potting a snake plant that a lot of plant keepers don't realize is that snake plants are succulents. When potting a snake plant of any kind, it is critical that you use a cactus mix or some other form of quick draining potting soil. I could be wrong, but the potting soil in Toby's nursery pot doesn't look like a very quick draining mix. So I'm going to replace as much of it as I can without disturbing the roots any more than I have to. If I were repotting Toby in springtime or early summer near the beginning of his growing season, I might be tempted to maybe propagate him a little bit by cutting up his root system and potting him into multiple containers. Since this video is being filmed in Arizona during mid-November though, I'm going to leave his roots alone because it'll be a few months before he will be able to grow any new ones, and his survival is entirely dependent on the roots he currently has. We're going to pack the soil down well enough that there are no big air pockets, but not so well that the roots can't breathe and dry out between waterings, because again, Toby is a succulent. When choosing a new container for any snake plant, understanding the following information is critical. The way snake plants multiply is by, in early spring, sending up new, these things, stalks, I guess. These stalks grow all summer long, and then in the fall, the plant goes dormant. Now, the way that snake plants decide where to send up new stalks is by sending out subterranean shooting roots from their original root cluster. These shooting roots are called rhizomes, and they will continue to travel underground horizontally until they hit something. Be it a rock, a seashell, a meteor, other rhizomes, a treasure chest, the roots of a different plant, that pair of sunglasses that your friend Lisa to this day swears she let you borrow back in 2007, even though you know that she was the last one who wore them. Only once the rhizomes run into something will they begin to grow upwards, and upon reaching the surface of the soil, sprout one of so many gorgeous leaves that look so fantastic in the expertly drilled milk glass container on the corner of the desk in your home office. Don't worry about it. For this reason, if you want a dense crop of luscious and tightly packed snake plant stalks, it's best to, when repotting snake plants, go up in size by only around an inch once a year just before the beginning of your plant's growing season. So February or early March if you live in the high desert of northeastern Arizona. Potting your snake plant in such a way that the interior edge of the pot is several inches away from the plant's root cluster will result in sporadically spaced stalks that are relatively few and far between, which is fine if that's the look you're going for. I don't judge. Okay, now that Toby is nestled happily into his vibrant yellow new home, it's time to tie some knots. For Toby's macrame, I went with 4mm off-white single-strand cotton macrame cord. I considered gray because that might complement his yellow pot a little bit better, but in the end I decided white would best complement his yellow-green leaves. This hoop is way too big, but it's 3 a.m., Ace Hardware doesn't open till 7, and I don't want to wait till then to get rolling on these knots, so we're just gonna go with it. For beads, I picked 6 polymer beads I made in February and a foam cast recycled aluminum owl bead to, keep an eye on things.
Any ideas?
During this step of the process, if you use a pot to decide how far apart to space the knots of your macrame, maybe don't use the pot that contains the freshly potted, highly sensitive roots of your brand new snake plant. An empty pot that is roughly the same size might be just a little bit safer. Now that Toby has been potted and adorned with expertly crafted macrame, all that is left is to find him a spot in my house that offers exactly the right balance of sunlight. Many kinds of houseplants that are considered to be low light plants are actually what is called low light tolerant. This means that they don't need a lot of light to survive, but they will do much better with higher levels of sunlight. Snake plants are just such a plant. Your snake plant will survive for years in the dimly lit corner of a room that only receives a low level of indirect sunlight. But if you want to see lots of growth and thick, tall, healthy, and vibrantly colored leaves, then lots of indirect sunlight and even a couple hours per day of direct sunlight is better. I've got a spot just west of a south-facing window where I plan to keep Toby on the days that I don't need him to help me make hilarious and informative educational YouTube videos that are packed with intelligent humor and botanical expertise. Speaking of which, do you like bad graffiti, worse jokes, wacky macrame, and pretty good advice about taking care of your houseplants? Well then freaking subscribe! Thanks, Tammy. That's right. Click that bell icon too so you never miss a new video.